Everybody, G-Bear out here in the desert homesteading. It is Wednesday, October 25th, 6 days until my birthday. That's right, I'm a Halloween baby. And the greatest part about that is I've never had to worry about a mask. I was born with one. Anyway, back to what we're doing here, and the reason I'm inside right now is I want to show you that the voltage on my charge here is 13 volts. And that's significant because I'm only running half my battery bank out here. I got the other half down in the OC. And with half the battery bank and running power tools outside all day, and inside here I was running a crock pot all day since this morning after the electric coffee pot shut off, and the toaster, and I made toast on the toaster to go with my bacon and eggs. All of that, and I'm still at 13 volts through the day out here. Now that's significant. That tells me that when I get my full set of battery banks up here and the rest of my solar panels up here, I'm going to have electricity to spare. And that is what I want. That is very important, people, for off-grid homesteading. Always plan for more than what you think you're going to need, and I mean double it if you can. You want to overkill everything. I learned that out the hard way by myself out here. Things like wire sizes, heck, even if you can get away with a smaller wire size, get a bigger wire size. It won't hurt you. It's a little more expensive, but you'll be happy you did in the long run. And I'm happy I upgraded everything on here. And yeah, there was a little bit of waste because I started off with wiring too small, but now it's all up to grid. That's the way I like it. It's got plenty of power in here, and I can do what I want to do and not worry about running out of electricity, and I don't have to pay an electrical bill. And let's come over here and look at what we got going in the inverter right now. I'm using 249 watts, and I'm putting 233.9 volts into the system, and using 1.11 amps through the system at a power factor of 0.96. And that is great. There's my total working time is 2060.53 hours. And there's total consumption, 120,711 kilowatt hours since I've powered this up. Okay, now let's go down one more. Hey, there's not a bad sign. Total electricity cost. Well, I like that. All right, next, heat in here. Right now, it's 84 degrees outside, and it's the same inside because I have all the windows open. When I got it out here the day my turbine had blown over, the temperature outside that night got down to about 43, and it was chilly. So I closed up all the windows and the doors, and I fired up the heater. Well, the heater kept me at a comfortable 70 degrees all night. I slept with the blankets half on, half off. Had no problem whatsoever. Well, there is a thermostat on this thing, and I have a setting on here marked 68. And when I set it there, it'll maintain 68 even when it gets down to 40 degrees outside. It stays 68 in here. This thing will keep on bringing the heat up to 68 and shut off, and so forth and so on. Well, that's cool. Well, when I shut that all the way down and I have this on pilot, I have it off now, and I'll tell you why. When I have it on pilot, just the pilot burns down inside here. Well, I forgot about that. And the next couple of nights when I was out here, the temperature didn't drop below like 68, 70 degrees at night. And I had the windows closed and the doors closed. And that little flame in there, just that one little pilot light, brought it up to about 85, 86 degrees inside this cabin. And I was cooking. I woke up in a ball of sweat, and I said, what in the heck is going on? It's nighttime. It's not supposed to be this hot. I swung the windows open, And I walked around the cabin, I got close to the heater, and I felt the heat coming off that thing, and I went, oh, there we go. So I shut that thing down. I don't need it right now. Save propane, right? All right, let's move on outside. Oh yeah, in that crock pot I got running in there, that's I've got a brisket and vegetables, and it really smells good. It's calling me. It's saying, come on in, come on in. And one other thing I forgot while I was in there, my friend Bill gave me an early birthday present before I came out. It's this little lighter right here. And this is pretty cool. You open it up like that, and you press the little button on the side here, and you can see that little hot X going across there. Well, anything you put in there ignites instantly. And what I've been using that for is I light my stove with stick matches, because this temporary stove I've got in here doesn't have an electronic igniter. I have to light it with a flame. And when I use stick matches, heck, every time I got to throw a stick match away. Like one light, throw it away. Well, now with that, I turn it around and I light the other side, and I can use this 5, 6, sometimes 7 times to relight burners on the stove, just igniting it with that little atomic lighter. Now, that's a money saver. I like that. It's a great birthday present. I appreciate it, Bill. Thank you. That little wire right there is a USB charger that plugs into the bottom of it and charges the thing up. And while I'm thinking about it, there's also a little switch on the bottom here. You can shut it off, and that saves the battery on it and makes it last longer. And you can use that even if the wind is howling outside. You can ignite something to start a fire if you had to with that thing. So you could keep warm even with inclement weather. All right, let's move on outside, and I got to shift and grab this camera a little bit better because I'm about to climb a ladder. I've got a ladder here leaned up against the porch, and up on top of the porch I laid down some garage epoxy on there. I primed it early this morning and put 2 coats of epoxy on there, and I am sealed and weather tight. The reason I did that is I'm probably going to add 1 more coat on here with some sand mixed in to give it a nice gritty non-slip surface. But this is a nice 2nd-story observation deck for at nighttime, just looking at the stars and staring out over the desert. You can see 50, 60 miles into the distance with this elevation up here, so that's pretty cool. I just wanted to show you that. And up here you can see where the roof of the cabin overhangs a little further out than the porch roof, and I'm going to be putting little 12-inch pieces of gutter right here that have a cap on the end. Will catch the water off the top roof and direct it over onto the porch roof, and that'll all go down to my main gutter down there, which will then collect that rainwater for irrigation. Yeah, I might also notice that in a flash there's another addition up here, a bug zapper. That's plugged in there too, and that's running off the same electricity all day long without causing any problems. I'm still at 13 volts over there. This little sticky thing here that's supposed to catch flies got 1 fly so far out of the 70 that bugged me all day. So that was pretty cool, huh? And what an investment. $3 for something that caught 1 fly. All right, let's move around the corner here. The next thing is the foundation is in for my electric room. And that's coming across there is 4.5 blocks at 16. So that's 4 times 16. That's 64 plus 6. That's 70 inches. That's 5 foot across. And then this way is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 64 inches. So it's a little over 5 feet, almost 5.5 feet that way. And it's almost 6 feet. Well, 6 feet it is that way. Well, just under 6 feet. And you see that I got rebar in there, and I've poured some of the concrete in the corners and locked everything together so it doesn't get bumped or nudged or tipped over or anything like that. And the open cells that you see there are because I've got to put anchor bolts in there so I can anchor the part of the room that's going to be built on there. I can anchor that down to the foundation. I'll be bringing some buckets of dirt over and filling in this inside so that there's no extra space underneath there. I don't want critters burrowing under there and turning it into a home. So I wanted to show you that. Then let's move around here. And anybody think that G-Bear has been a busy boy today? Let's see a show of hands. All right, I broke out some paint and I painted the propane shed, the tan color that I like, and eventually the whole cabin will be painted that color, except I may do a little different color on the trim around the windows. But that tan is just perfect. And my van is over here because I just added the last 10 gallons of water I had carried with me up there into the shower units. And they're almost topped off. They're probably 10 gallons shy of being full. The next thing is coming up to the pedestal, and you probably see it from here. That's tan colored now. That was 2 coats of primer and a coat of the tan paint. I didn't want to go overboard on that because there's going to be a plastic tank sitting on it. So you'll never see it except for the edges. And then once I get the tank into place, I will be building type of a gazebo there with walls around it to protect the tank from the sun and make it last a little bit longer. All right, I think that's about all. And I think, yep, that's about all. I'm checking my list right now. I want to make sure I covered everything, so I wrote it down. The last thing I have to say is, hey people, don't forget, scroll down, lower down on the page. There's a place there where you can leave comments, and you can ask me questions. I try to get back to everybody as quickly as possible. Sometimes when I'm outside working, I have my phone inside, and you'll have to wait an hour or two to hear back from me. But I always get back to everybody. And if you haven't already, subscribe. That way you won't miss anything. There's going to be a lot going on here in the future, and I've got things planned for out here that you wouldn't believe. And right now, you're watching videos every time I post videos here. This is actually setting up for living out here. I want to be ready so that if the time comes when I have to come here full time and move into this cabin, everything will be ready for me. I won't have to say, oh my God, what am I going to do about that? That's it, people. This is another episode of G-Bear Homesteading the Desert. Signing off.